Hey crew, so here it is, almost completely. It's actually been quite a lot of hours putting this thing together. Now recently, we've had a lot of problems in the construction, like designing this theoretically is is very different from actually putting it together. And the biggest problem we've had was the counterweight, which I built this thing, you know, nice solid wooden structure. Gonna stick sandbags on it, load it up. Turns out there was a much easier way. I spent like 5 hours building this thing because I am not an expert carpenter. We just decided to go with this thing. It was easier, it fit better, and it was just a better solution. And you know, sometimes, or I guess often with projects like this, you just gotta try it before you figure out, you know, how the best laid plans will utterly fail to work. Tomorrow we're gonna take it out to the reservation by Dad's building and fire it off. We're thinking of using water balloons because we can control the size and scale up the projectiles slowly, figure out what we can throw and what works best. Oh, this is actually kind of funny. The sling is actually it's actually a chair. It's a children's canvas chair that we took off, or I took off the frame and threaded rope through, and it is almost exactly what we were looking for. It's kind of funny. Initially, back to the counterweight actually, initially I had planned to build a full solid box, more in keeping with the original medieval style. It would have been completely sealed in with 2x4s, which is why we have a bunch of extra 2x4s mainly. But in the end, it turned out that just a canvas bag worked better than any of the things I had in mind before.
So you want to show them where the canvas bag is going to go?
Oh, this thing those straps are going to hook on to this bar up here, which I'm going to secure with, whoa. Nearly killed my dad there, with washers and these pipe clamps on either side to stop them sliding too much. And then I'm going to add extra support to the bag because I don't necessarily trust the straps on the sides of it. Gonna wrap several more bungee cords. You can find where we put the box there. Around it, hook it up, just provide a little extra support. I mean, I don't know what else there is to talk about.
So how much weight are you going to put in the bag?
Well, it's funny because before I'd actually seen how much the force, exactly what the wood could take and all of that stuff, we're thinking 400 pounds. We scaled back a little bit since then. We're thinking 150, maybe 200 at the top. Just because of the, because it's just, I didn't have a working knowledge of the forces involved. Mm-hmm. And actually, okay, this thing would have worked and we probably would have been able to go with more weight if I had designed the thing with more clearance. Mm. If I had, in the first place, made these taller, or perhaps designed everything with, designed it around a smaller counterweight. I think making these higher probably would have been the solution, or maybe designing it with a shorter arm on this end in mind. But I designed it with like 4 or 5 inches of clearance, and 1.5 feet would have been a lot better. 1.5 feet would have meant we could have used this thing, because this thing kept jamming up on the track at the bottom just because any wobble was too much for that 4-inch, 5-inch margin. So I'm hoping when we actually test it out tomorrow, nothing's gonna break and it's gonna work pretty well. Oh, also another example of my more complex original plans just not working as well as a simplified solution. I had a boat winch, or have a boat winch, that I was going to stick on the side here somewhere, and that somewhere was an issue. It just, in the end, it was a lot easier to just make the counterweight smaller, like half the size of my initial plan, and pull this down manually, and hook this rope to, I have a couple of eye screws here. The release mechanism is going to be this threading through here.
Are you sure that's going to work? Is it going to create wobble in it?
It might create a little bit of wobble, which is why it's really easy to take out the eye hooks. So if we feel like tomorrow we're gonna give it a few more runs through its paces before actually taking it out there, just stick the counterweight up on there, let it run with nothing in the basket. And how this works is, I don't know how well you can see this. This metal pipe, actually going to drill a hole in it and attach a string so I can stand away from it when pulling. It's going to go through here, and this goes here, and that's pretty solid. And I'm going to have a string here, and this is just going to yank out. This will slip out pretty cleanly, and it'll release.
Cool.
But yeah, we may have to move those eye hooks to like up here or something.
Actually, if you put them on the end here, sticking off the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like all that force being pulled, levering them up. So, I mean, that's, I think, the most stable place I could think of. But if we feel there's too much wobble, we're going to have to move them somewhere else. And we do have other options. Would be nice if we could just leave it, though.
Cool.
I think that's all there is to tell, though. Initially, I'd planned to put braces on the sides this way, but I just didn't need them. I mean, running it through, there was next to no wobble this way, even on a little bit of a, because we had it out on this sidewalk here, and this tilts a little bit this way, and I wedged it up a bit, but there just wasn't enough, there just wasn't much wobble at all. It just, all the force is back and forth along the length. There's just nothing going this way. And hopefully, that's actually the worry with this, is that having this offset will cause it to wobble this way more. But hopefully that just won't make enough of a difference, because this junction up here is pretty tight. So there shouldn't be more than, I don't know, a few inches of wobble. Hopefully we should be able to just go with it.
So I guess we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah. See ya.